What's up, everyone? This is Brian from Exact Cybersecurity and IT, and I'm here to continue my talk and my discussion around cybersecurity risk assessments and why you need them in your business. So in the last video around cybersecurity risk assessments, I discussed what types of risk can impact an organization's cybersecurity. And in that, I discussed identifying different things around the risk for your business. And once you do that, then you need to move into vulnerability identification or risk analysis. So how do you do that? This is actually probably one of the more complex parts when you're looking at your cybersecurity, because this is where you really kind of need to rely on experts to tell you and break it down for you as to what this means for your business. So what are some ways that businesses can start to get this information? Well, one of those ways is just threat intelligence, gathering information about current and emerging threats to the organization, the industry, technology that they use, and understand the likelihood of that specific threat. That's what you want to really gain from getting threat intelligence from a source or from a person. Threat intelligence is important. A lot of businesses don't understand that not only do their C-level executives need to be aware of the threat landscape, but if you have a board or you're a publicly traded company, your board also needs to understand this as well. Threat intelligence is a really good way for businesses to be able to start to identify the likelihood and the potential impact against them. So looking at threat intelligence and deciding, is that a threat, a likely threat, an unlikely threat, and how should we prepare and plan around these different threats that exist to our business. Next thing you might want to consider doing, and this is probably going to require a little bit more of a technical person, threat intelligence you can get from a lot of different sources. Whether you understand what you're reading or not really depends on whether or not you need to bring in a professional. You can get threat intelligence from our own federal government through CISA. Put some information in the description below for you for that. But vulnerability scans are my second on the list. And vulnerability scans, I talked about this a little bit in other videos, but conducting vulnerability scans and assessments to identify what vulnerabilities are in the organization's systems and applications, what the hardware and software that you use. Can a hacker use those because they're not being updated or something like that? Can they use those to exploit you further or take advantage of you further? And that's what you want to be understanding. You want to be able to understand your vulnerabilities that exist in your environment. Like if you're running an old version of Microsoft Exchange or Log4j exists in your network. These are all well-known exploitable vulnerabilities that hackers take advantage of all the time. You're going to want to have somebody come in, evaluate what vulnerabilities you have, and then make a business decision around whether or not you should take some action against that vulnerability, remove that device or isolate that device from the network. These are all options that are at your disposal when you're looking at this. This should all be done with the spirit of we're trying to do something to reduce our risk attack surface here. The next thing you could do is number 3 is penetration testing. You could actually have a company come in and as part of your cyber risk assessment, have an actual pen test done. Basically, a pen test is just a test of, I'm a hacker, I'm going to see what I can take advantage of on your system. And they're going to look for all kinds of things, vulnerabilities, poor password hygiene, stored credentials, poor data security or data segregation. What can they get to things that they shouldn't be able to get to or certain users shouldn't be able to get to? Penetration testing is going to tell you a lot of that. It can go as deep as looking at things like if you have custom software or web applications written for your business, they can look into whether those applications are secure or not. There's a lot of different types of penetration tests out there, and it really depends. The type that your business needs really depends on your business and how compliance driven it might be or how seriously you want to take security and invest towards it. Obviously, the bigger the penetration test, the more it's going to cost your business, and it might be not advantageous, or you might not see the return on investment on something like that, depending on how big it is and what's involved. Penetration tests, there are mini ones or small ones that we do for businesses that are fairly inexpensive. If you want more information, there'll be a link in the description. Next thing, you can look at risk modeling. I don't know a ton of companies that do risk modeling around this, but using statistical and mathematical models to assess the likelihood and potential impact of specific threats based on historical data, current trends, and other factors. This is something that a lot of insurance companies might use to determine what the risk is for a business that is looking to get cyber insurance or something like that. But risk modeling is expensive and it's hard, and there's not a lot of really commercially available products out there that can make this easy for you to determine whether or not you think you might have a problem one day, or if it's worth the risk to do things like run without cyber insurance, maybe not take care of certain vulnerabilities right away that have been identified because the modeling is telling you that the risk is low. I don't know how much I trust that, and I'm not making a recommendation here. I'm just saying these are things you can do. I actually wouldn't recommend this at all because, quite frankly, you should be striving for the best cybersecurity protection that you can put a budget towards. Take some of your cash flow and some of your profits and shore up your data security. That would be what I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend looking at models and kind of gambling with your cybersecurity future. Just look at companies like Rackspace and see if you would ask those executives if they would use modeling to determine whether they would get hit with ransomware or not. Number 5 on my list is going to be expert analysis. Consulting with cybersecurity experts such as security consultants or managed security service providers, MSSPs. I have a whole series of videos coming out on MSSPs to educate you about that, to assess the likelihood and potential impact of specific threats and vulnerabilities. I think this is a much better idea than number 4. Number 5 being expert analysis. At some point, you're going to have to bring or hire your own expert around data security to let you know what's happening in your business and where your risk exists. I could go on for a half hour about hiring experts and making sure you have the right people in place around cybersecurity, because quite frankly, there's a lot of fakers out there. There's a lot of people who say they know cybersecurity, but at the end of the day, they really don't, and it's questionable, and you have to be careful who you hire on this step. So vet whoever you hire to do your cybersecurity. And I'll give you this piece of advice. If you're a business owner and you think you have like a really great IT person or somebody who's really good technically, I just want to caution you that a lot of times we see that those people are not really good on the security side of things. Cybersecurity and security take a different mindset and a different personality a lot of times than a engineer or a technician. So I'd be cautious about making a promotion from somebody who you think, it's kind of like the old adage. I've mentioned it before on this channel. It's a bad idea in most businesses to take their top salesperson and make them a sales manager, because it's just a different skill set. And the same applies here. It's a different skill set. You're going to want to make sure that you have cybersecurity experts that are trained, that know what they're doing, that are giving you advice, while maybe you're bringing up somebody from the inside to skill them up and make them part of the cybersecurity team as well. Last one we're going to go into here, number 6, business impact analysis. Everybody should be conducting a business impact analysis to identify critical business processes and systems and assess the potential impact of an attack on those systems. Obviously, your own systems are something to consider, but I'm also going to point out something that gets missed by a lot of businesses, and that's looking at third-party systems, cloud applications that your business relies on heavily for your day-to-day operations. We saw this recently with Aloha payroll provider. I did a YouTube video on that as well, where their POS system was down, and this impacted a lot of restaurants for quite some time, and they're still dealing with the aftermath of that ransomware attack on NCR and Aloha systems. This is a critical piece of software that runs in restaurants for them to do back office type work. And those systems being down has created lots of different problems for them, some that were even publicly facing that had to do with gift cards and rewards programs and things like that. It got out there pretty quick that this company was having a problem. Had there not been a publicly facing side of this with the gift card program and stuff, I don't think we would have heard about it as soon. But unfortunately, restaurants had to start letting customers know what was happening and why they couldn't service them like they normally could. Think about the systems that you use. use? Microsoft 365 email. If that were not to be available to your business, what would that mean? And what is your backup plan? What are you going to? There's a lot of third-party email continuity services that you can set up where your email can be held somewhere else in the event that Microsoft is down and you go log into, say, a web portal where you're accessing your email temporarily there until M365 comes back up. So these are all things that just quick ideas I'm giving you around business impact analysis and things that you can do around business impact analysis. But this video is over. I am wrapping up. These are 6 things that I gave you that you can do to identify the likelihood of a breach or the impact of a breach in your business. This is all part of things that are discovered as part of a cybersecurity risk assessment. Really think about getting a cybersecurity risk assessment. And I'm going to do more videos around cybersecurity risk assessments and what they should look like. But this is another section of a cybersecurity risk assessment that's very important that you should get from any reputable provider who is doing these types of services like our company, and just make sure that you're getting this information around vulnerabilities and risks in your business and the impact and the likelihood of that impact happening on your business, so you can make proper decisions in your business and spend money appropriately to dealing with these issues and reducing your risk. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. You can shoot us an email. Find that easily down in the links below as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.